Today we're going to do a live learning session, and I'm going to teach a new exercise to my trainee, and she's going to go through and in real time have some questions and have some concerns, and I'm going to try to address them as they come up. We're going to use a rope, high cable tricep extension with a varied angle. So we have a backrest set up, and she's going to back into here, get her hips locked in against the pad, and then we're going to change the angle of the upper body while maintaining the angle of the humerus straight up overhead for a full stretch of the long head of the triceps. So the long head of the triceps is unique in the tricep group because it covers two joints. It contracts and gets shorter when the elbow extends, but it also contracts and gets shorter when you pull the elbow in this direction. This is extension behind you. And when that happens, you get contraction at the elbow and at the shoulder. We're going to negate that shoulder contraction by stretching the humerus all the way up and behind. And so we'll only get contraction of the long head at the elbow, making it just like the other two heads of the tricep in nature. But we'll make some variations that change that along the way. And so this is, when you have a two-joint muscle, there's a lot of things that can change. You can change the angle at the shoulder, you can change the angle at the elbow. So we're gonna play around a lot. And this exercise can fill in a weak spot or a soft spot in your tricep development, because there's so many different angles you can find by feeling where they're hitting the muscle the best. You can put it right where you might believe you're weak, or right where you want to be stronger. And as for development, I believe the same thing is true. So we'll go through it in real time, and I'll probably get hung up on some things, and it'll be fun to watch the process of learning unfold. And so I hope this goes well. People, how to get ready. You all set? Okay, Jax, I want you to take the rope, put it over your head, and spin around and get your butt up against here. All right, now this automatically puts her in this stretch position that we want. Now I want you to keep your hips solid and push your back down and get about at least to parallel. Now let these elbows float back behind you. Good. Now tuck them in really close to your body and push your hands towards the front wall. And you can support an athlete here. Sometimes we'll put a ball here to support it. As long as the hips are good, the abs can usually handle the tricep weight, but if it gets heavier, so this is going to maintain. You're going to extend the arms straight out in front. Good. Full extension and back. And this is going to be a karate chop motion. So it's going to be humerus and front arm in a line. There's going to be a tendency for the elbows, and I'm going to let you flare here, they're to flare out, and then go ahead and press that out. And it becomes more of a little bit of a press, and it involves the shoulder. So we want to keep the elbows pointed down to the ground, and they're going to go push the hands straight towards the front wall. And so we've got a straight position here. Work on your stretch. When the weight comes back, allow this. That's it, good. So allow that stretch to happen, because we want to stretch this muscle here. Nice. Do one more and then take a rest. All right, come up. So just let your arms hang and dangle and feel where that was working for you, where that was hitting the muscle. So we're not too worried about trying to put it anywhere yet. We just want to go through the different positions and see what the different positions offer in the way they feel to you. Then when you know what position offers what, you can choose and fine-tune where to put that stress in your training. So what we're doing today is just exploring what happens when we change angles. So we started with a nice stretched angle. And you can even angle it down even further. You know, what we're going to do this time is we're going to do a couple reps in the first position that we started in, just to remind our body what we felt. And then we're going to let the spine raise up a little bit. But we're going to keep the exact same stretch on the tricep. We're going to keep the elbows, the humerus, all in the same place. The only thing that changes is going to be your hip angle. It's going to open up a little bit. Going to come from this position to a more upright position, a little bit. Now what that does though, it changes nothing in the spine and humerus and hands, but it changes the pull of this cable. So this cable is going to change its angle of pull. When we come up, this angle of pull is going to be from a more of a downward push or a frontward push. And watch the angle change as I bring my body up. And so as we go through this, the angle of pull on the stretch of the long head is going to change. Nothing should change at all about the other two heads, because they're always going to be in the same relation to the elbow. So let's start again. Find a good position, get a good stretch, get a good tip. Now let the elbows float back behind you. Tuck them in close to the head. Good. Now just smoothly push towards the front wall. Leave your elbows back with me. Let them stretch. Give me the elbows. Now keep them back here with me. Don't move them. Perfect. Much, much better. Good. So now let's leave these elbows right where they are. Don't let them come forward. Yeah, I like it. So when I say don't let them come forward, that means don't let this angle get any more acute. Keep it open. All right, now let it stretch back, and let the hands stretch back. I'll be more specific. Elbows in. Now let your body come up towards me. All right, let's try this angle. Now you're going to push out this way. Now still do all the same things. Leave the shoulder stretched, leave the elbows back. And this cable now should be in a very different position than it was. I hope you can see that on the video. It looks like it is. So we've changed the pull, especially at the end of the motion. Now let's do it again. Let's make this the similar change. Stretch up a little bit more. Okay, now you're going to push towards maybe the corner of the building. Very different pull that you should be feeling on the long head. Let those elbows come back. Let that stretch, pull. That's it. Give the elbows to me. Nice. That was a good one. Do a nice one like that, slow. Elbows in close. Good. One more time, just a little bit higher, not much. Okay, that's enough. Now push up above the... Good. One more. Oh, too much, too far back. Okay, we lost support here. That's fine. So, what I hope you saw there was that as we changed the hip position and maintained the same angle at the shoulder overhead, we got a different feel. Isn't that so? Right? And right now, why don't you just take your eyes, close them, and just feel how that was different than just doing the first set. And just note the differences. And we'll do it again, and we'll note the differences. And then we'll do it in the other direction. We'll start high and go down, because one of the things that might be changing as you feel this is just pure fatigue. So let's do it backwards to sense how the change in the angle of the body changes the pull on the cable, changes the feel in the muscle. And you follow all the same good technique suggestions and cues. I mean, we're just doing regular training. What we're mostly changing here is the position at which we feel the stress, how the stress is delivered to the body. And we do that by changing our body position. And it's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of learning about your body that is beneficial in all sporting things, and it's beneficial in learning to control your body. And that's super important no matter what you want to do in the gym. Having control over the weights, not letting the weights push you around, and momentum, having things do some of the work for you. You want to control the weights. You don't want the weights pushing you around. And that happens a lot, especially in the drive to use ever higher and higher poundages. That's good. You know, I love strength. I pursued strength like a madman, but you shouldn't pursue strength at the expense of technique. And one of the things that breeds good technique is knowing how to control your body. And this exercise teaches some of that control. What happens when my elbows are here? What happens when my elbows are here? What happens when my elbows are stretched all the way back? My shoulders won't permit that these days. There's some impingement there. But you can see it in her. And there's a value in doing this for its own sake. Even if you don't do it as training, doing it a couple times teaches you quite a bit. So it's certainly worth a try. Let's do it again. And this time we're going to reverse our progression. We're going to start up high, and we'll make sure we have enough room. On the commercial machines, this isn't such a problem. I built this when I was 22, and I did the best I could. I didn't know much about commercial machines at the time. So it's a little shorter than it should be. And she's a little taller than she should be, probably, at 6'3". But we're gonna make do. So start off, and then we're gonna change the angle in reverse this time. So that's good right there. Now still stretch the elbows back, keep the elbows in tight, and then just simply extend. Good, let's just do 2 at each, and you choose the next angle that you want to feel. And do it by how this feels when you stretch back. So stretch back, and now choose your angle by what you feel along the tricep. Good. Now another thing I want to show you is as we go down, this angle will become more and more acute. If you notice in the first one, she didn't get a good full range of motion. And the more we go down, the longer the motion becomes, because we get more of an acute angle in the stretch position. Look how tightly packed that is now. Look how closed that angle is now. Good. Elbows. Float back to me. Float the elbows. Good. There you go. That's it. Go ahead. Find your way. Is that too far for you? Is it hitting the top?
Just a little.
I wish I had a taller machine, but I don't. So I think you can see where this would go. If I had a little bit more cable room, she could keep tipping down till her head is actually below her knees. And you're in this folded over position, and a cable almost runs straight up your back to the top. And that's the fullest stretch you can get in the starting position. So you lose some stretch as you come up, and you don't get as full a range of motion, but you get a different feel. And especially the feel that you get upon full extension. And when we think of triceps, we don't really think of moving the humerus in extension and hyperextension. You know, that's just not a tricep thing, because we have really big lat muscles and teres major and minor to do that for us, and rear delt. So we don't really need to think about triceps ever to facilitate humerus extension and hyperextension. So we think of the triceps as elbow extenders. And so what changes here is that feeling at the very end of extension. And for presses and stuff, of course, that relates to your lockout. So, Most people fail somewhere in the bench press, not on their chest or near their chest, but at or through a little bit past the sticking point when they need what? They need tricep extension. So this might teach you something about your triceps and your tricep development and where you might benefit some of your training to help you improve your lockout. Knowledge is power, and learning about your body is what we're doing here. And if that sounds boring to you, or it doesn't build enough strength, and all you want to do is spend all your time building strength, you have at it. That's fine. You can do it that way. But there's working harder, and there's working better or smarter. And there's no reason that I have to choose one or the other. I don't have to fall into that false choice. I can do both. I can work smarter and I can work harder. Just because I'm working smart doesn't mean I give up on working hard. And I never have. And you shouldn't either. So don't be afraid to experiment with doing things better, in a better way, in a smarter way. And it doesn't take away from doing things the hard way and the hardcore way and the old school way, and the hard ass way. You can still do all that, but you're going to get more out of it. So we'll keep doing this, and I'm going to keep teaching her. We're going to make a few more changes. There's more we can do with this. So let's go through it and have you feel your way around. And let's do an actual training set. I want you to do this until you're tired. Is the weight enough for that? How many reps do we think we can get? 12?
10.
15? 8? 6?
Depends on how slow I'm going.
I want good quality work, and I want a lot of information. So I'd like around 10 reps. And what I want you to do is, let's start in the down position and come up. And as you fatigue, I want you to come up higher and higher. And you don't count reps, you do as many reps in that position as you want to do to fatigue the muscle. So we're in a real training set now. So take your time, give me a good squeeze. 1,001, 2. Fold, relax more. Yep. Go ahead. Stick your head through forward a little bit. That's it, behind the elbows. Stick your head down, the elbows behind. Good job. That's nice. We got a little more stretch there. Now see if you can maintain that. Those elbows are going to want to float forward. You resist that. Change your angle when you want to. If you don't want to change it, just do them all there. If this is a great set, the idea is to change a little bit, but if you're getting good work, get the good work. Don't change for the sake of change. You may just, and any one of these positions could become a favorite for you, and you do all your work there. But you do that because you know what the other positions can offer, and you've specifically chosen a position that is better for you. She seems to dig this position quite a bit. All right, take your time, give me more stretch. Elbows back, head forward. That's nice. There was a difference there. Stretch the chest and head forward. Good. Elbows in. Nice. Good. All right, finish yourself off. Now go hard. Let's really finish this. Good. She's going to stay in this position, I think. And so she's speeding up a little bit at the end because the fatigue's hitting, and now she's just going to loosen up the form a little bit and speed up a little bit, get a little looser, and just really push. Good. Nicely done. Set the alarms off on that. We said that was a very good set, apparently. The gods have approved. So, all right, so apparently you liked that spot. That was doing something for you that you. All right, so let's do another set, but I want you to do 1 rep in that spot and then change and then see what happens. See how you feel. See what you get. And then after I get you a little bit tired, you know what? I think I'm going to spring it on you. I think I'm going to spring it on you this set. No, so I'm in a quandary as a coach here because I want to teach this exercise, but I also want to give her a good workout the very first time out. And I'm probably asking too much. I want a great workout, but I want a lot of attention to detail. So what I'm confronting in my mind is whether I should add another variation or let her just change the angle and feel another set. And I think that's what I'm settling on as I'm talking it through to you. I'm going to let her just change her angle and drive another set with the possibility for more changes, but I'll let her choose that. And then on the following set, I'm going to change some things to further make it difficult for her to learn today. But there's some people in the world that love challenges, and they love to do hard things, and they're excited by being tested and asked to do, hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do that? And so I know I can get away with it with her. So I'm gonna throw some even more changes into the mix as she's learning all this. But I know we're gonna walk away with a really good training session. So when you're ready, we'll do another. You don't have to go yet. We can edit this out. This is gonna go back to work here. The last set, she started off and we didn't get to change because I told her to do as many reps in the different positions as felt good. And so she stuck with one that was getting the job done very well for her. So this time I'm gonna have her do one rep in our beginning position, and then I want you to change and start there. Now, if you do a couple reps there and you don't like that position, change higher, but always come this way. So you can do the same thing, and maybe you get stuck in the second position. That's fine, as long as it's working. So one, right, let's do all the things right. Big stretch here, elbows in tight, and then head through. All right, extend. Lock it out. And feel the stretch, feel the stretch, feel the stretch. Now in the stretch, once you're in the stretch, now allow your back to come back towards me to some degree. You pick it. And then let's get some reps there. Elbows in. Okay. See, I like that one better on you when I look at it, but I can't feel it. As a coach, I can see 100% of what she does, and I can feel 0% of what she feels. And so we have to communicate. Good. Looks like she's sticking this one out for a few too. Now, what she's allowed to do when she wants, if she wants, is to bring her back up and take a little different angle of pull. She's sticking them out. See, she's in the learning phase, and so she's enjoying this, and she doesn't want to change too much. All right, here we have a little change. Okay. Good. Let the elbows float back. Good. Now these are shorter motions. Do you feel how this doesn't go as far? Mm-hmm. It's a much shorter motion. It's just the end of the motion. It's just the lockout. All right, rest. So as she was coming up, if you notice just between the things that she did there, as she came back up, the motion got shorter. So instead of coming all this way, when she came up, it started about here and finished. And then when she came up further, it started here and finished. And if we get up right to the top, it's just a really short little peak moment. It's just a peak contraction, like you'd see in a bodybuilder pose, which is valuable. You know, it's good. But there's a way we can sort of offset that lack of range of motion. And here's what I want to teach you now. So on this set, as you come up, instead of letting the elbows float back, which is what's shortening the motion, you're going to let the elbows come in front of your eyes, in front of your face, as you come up. And that should keep the range fairly long. So remember, two joint muscles, two things can happen. And there's a lot of things you can play with. So what we were trying to do is just change the angle of the waist and keep everything else the same. Now we're going to change this angle of the upper arm bone, the humerus, and her spine. And we're going to let that angle get smaller, more acute. Now I'll show it to you on her body. In fact, why don't you step over here and let me talk about, turn sideways for me. Face that way. Yeah. And so what we're talking about, straight arm here, this is her lockout position. And I'm talking about this angle between her body and the humerus. And when she's, imagine you tip back just a little bit. So imagine this is the angle that she's doing. And she's got a big stretch here. Now pull your hand behind your head like you're stretching. Bend your elbow put your hand behind your neck. Yeah. So this is all the stretch that she's going to get. What we're going to do is we're going to allow the elbows to come down, and look how that closes up this angle. And you'll see it much more when she's in the machine. That's what we're going to play with now. So before, we were trying to keep the elbows back every time, all the time, no matter where our spine was. Now, as our spine comes up, we're going to let the elbows go forward in front of us. And what that means is we're going to let this bone get in a different angle to the spine. So we'll start here, do 1 rep. Change angle, come up towards me. Do 1 rep. Change angle, come up towards me. Still letting it stretch, still letting it stretch. All right, we're gonna try it here. All right, come up towards me just a little bit. All right, now I wanna compare this. Let the elbows come back and stretch. And I want you to, there you go, that's a full stretch. Now look how short this, look at the angle here, it's open, almost 90. Now go ahead and see how short this motion is that you feel. It doesn't feel very long. Bend. Now what I want you to do is I want you to let your elbows come down. Now, go ahead and do the motion. And let your elbows come in front of your head. Tight in. Yeah, look at how we packed that in. It's a longer motion. Now raise up a little bit with your body. Okay? Now letting the elbows come in front, we get a longer motion. We don't get as much stretch here, but that's okay. That's all right. It's a 2-joint, the triceps isn't a 2-joint muscle, but one part of the triceps is. So now she's coming up. Now let this fold up, pull behind you. Nice. Is it any different?
Yes. Feels different.
Yeah. So we can offset some of the lack of range of motion that you get by when you raise up by letting the elbows come forward. And you can blend these two together in countless angles. And what you want to do is you want to do them at an angle of your choosing that feels the best to you. Either you get the best contraction, or maybe you're in the hardest place for you, or you want to build the muscle in an area of development that you want for you, or you want to build strength in one of these ranges of motion. And so you make these variations and you pay attention. Pay attention to where the muscle gets fatigued. Pay attention to where the muscle feels the stress. Pay attention to the angles of the bones. Pay attention to the fatigue. I may have said that twice. So you're trying to learn what the different positions of your body and the angles of the joints and the contraction of the muscle does for you, what it feels like to you. And when you know how to feel for the muscle response and how much contraction you're getting, you can pick a really specified joint angle to set yourself up in. You can change the angle of your bench, or change the angle of your body, or change your relationship to the gravity or the cable. You can pick a body position in any exercise that gives you more of what you want out of that exercise. And you can't do that without self-awareness and body awareness. Sure, you can let a coach tell you what to do, but again, a coach can see everything and feel nothing. So it's your job. You have to do it by yourself. A coach can guide you to the places to look, but you have to ultimately do the feeling and the knowing. You have to know what the different angles do in the muscle. You have to know which ones are harder for you, which ones are easier for you. You have to, and then you can choose your training angles and your training exercises with more accuracy. You can spend more time in the gym getting what you want after you've spent some time playing around and looking around to see what all the opportunities are. You can choose the opportunities you want rather than asking somebody, what should I do for this? You know, this part of my body isn't very well developed. What should I do, JM? What exercise should I do? Well, here's an exercise that you could find it on, but it's not the exercise that gives you the answer. It's the way you do the exercise that gives you the answer. So you can build your chest doing bench press. But if you want something, so you can do the bench press in lots of different ways. Elbows in, elbows out, close grip, wide grip. There's variations that give you different things. And how do you know? Well, the best way to know isn't to ask somebody else. I'm all for asking for guidance, and people come to me and I give guidance, but I guide them to a place where they can discover. And that's what we're doing today. We're looking for discovery. So I'm going to let her do a training set, and now that we have two things that she knows she can vary her angle, and she can vary her elbow position. Let's see what she comes up with. It'll be interesting to watch. All right, Jax is going to finish up on this set, and I've shown her a lot of different positions that can be valuable, and I want her to experiment and find some value and some training and push herself with all the rules that of normal good training. And this is going to be a real working set, and she's going to vary or not vary her angles to get some high cable, rope, overhead press downs done. So let's see what she comes up with. All right, now find your way. Don't be in a hurry. Yeah, don't be in a hurry. Start with a nice stretch, and then you can change it. You can even bring the elbows down in front of you now at this point to get more. Yeah, try some of this. That's different too. So there's a lot of variations. I want her to play around, and I want her to feel things, and I want her to pay attention, and I want her to find her own way. And in the process, she knows how to push herself, and so we'll get a good. So she's starting with the elbows not so stretched. Yeah. And there's an angle here, and there's a body angle, and watch all the changes. If you go through and watch where the cable, that's the direction to pull. That's where gravity's going. Gravity doesn't work down in this exercise. Gravity follows this cable. It eventually gets down over here. This is where gravity's pulling down, but it's attached to this cable. And if we look at the angle of the cable, we know the angle that gravity's pulling on her body. I see you like the forward elbows. Liking that feeling. Good. You find your way. And then when you get tired, and you can shift back down if you want. You can go back and forth, especially today. She'll develop a habit in this, and this exercise will become habitual, and she'll know where to go for her best workout. All right, punch a few out. All right, spin around and do some regular cable press downs just to finish out. Grab those things, and just normal, regular push downs. Back a little bit. There you go. And just a couple. Anything left in there? We're just doing this to get a little good punishment in. Get a little good extra work in. Finish them off. Don't let go of that rope until they are stimulated to grow. Don't let go of that rope too soon. Make sure they're stimulated. Make sure they're done. Are they done? If they're done, let go and walk away. But until that, give me some right down here. Go. 10 of them. 9, 8, 7, 6. Go. 5, 4. Straighten those arms. 3, 2. Nice job. Way to go. So there's some of that. There's a little bit of training mixed in with a little bit of learning. This is how I do it. It's not the only way to teach. It's one way to do it. I have reasons that I do it this way. I don't always do it this way, but this will give you a view on how you go about finding a better way to do any given exercise. So when a coach gives you an exercise to do, you should look around a little bit at the variations to find the variation that is going to suit you the best. So I hope you enjoyed it. I think it was a lot of fun. I'm sure Jack's got something out of it. And there you have the high cable overhead press downs.